Today, Donald Trump stated the U.S. had just reached a deal with Venezuela over the sale of Venezuelan gold he claimed was named the gold deal. It turns out the deal further expands cooperation between the U.S. and a corrupt foreign corporation. Here was Trump.
We have also just reached a historic gold deal. It's called the gold deal with Venezuela to allow our two countries to work together to facilitate the sale of Venezuelan gold and other minerals. They have great amounts of gold. They have good land. I tell you, very good land. But they weren't able to take advantage. The system didn't allow them to take advantage of the value of their land.
On Wednesday, Mark Caputo of Axios reported on the deal and wrote that a source said that Trafigura will shepherd the gold to U.S. refineries under a separate arrangement with the U.S. government. Who is Trafigura? For one thing, they are already transporting Venezuelan oil to the U.S. as part of a previous deal with the Trump administration. Here was their CEO meeting with Donald Trump in January.
Richard Holton from Trafigura. We're working with your administration, Mr. President, to bring that Venezuelan oil to the United States. Our first vessel should load in the next week.
Great. Good job. Thank you.
As you might guess from his accent, he isn't an American. He is British. Trafigura is sometimes reported to be based in Singapore and other instances Switzerland. Trafigura has a long history of corruption. In 2024, they reached a $126 million settlement with the U.S. Department of Justice for some instances of that corruption. Here was the Compliance Into the Weeds podcast summarizing that corruption.
FCPA enforcement action dropped late last week. Trafigura, a yet another Swiss company coming to grief because they did stupid things like talked about paying bribes in Brazil, but they did it in the United States. In addition to that, utter stupidity, which gave the DOJ U.S. jurisdiction. What about this matter interested you?
Tom, a lot. And I think that probably the least interesting thing from a veteran compliance officer's point of view might be the actual scheme itself to bribe. This was government officials in Brazil. This was Petrobras, because Petrobras always seems to crop up in any enforcement action in Latin America. But what really struck me was that Trafigura, I keep pronouncing it Trafigura. I don't know if I'm mispronouncing that, but Trafigura did a lot of bad things. This was a fairly substantial amount of money that the company was funneling down to Petrobras executives in shell companies, but they did not self-disclose. They did not embrace a spirit of cooperation when the investigation first began. They had some problems with trying to implement reforms or implement things such as employee discipline. So there was a lot of not flattering stuff here. Oh, and they were recidivist offenders, not with anti-corruption, but they had a history of other corporate misconduct in other jurisdictions. So all of this lines up to a big picture of not good.
At the previously mentioned January meeting, another participant mentioned their company was alongside Trafigura in transporting Venezuelan oil to the U.S.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ben Marshall, the America's CEO for Vitol. Alongside Trafigura, we're very thankful to have worked with the government and the Venezuelans to be able to bring the crude oil to market at a market price as quickly as we can to help stabilize the country. Thank you.
Thank you.
That company reached an agreement with the DOJ during Trump's first term over corruption they were involved in.